welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast. Thanks for joining me today. Got a pretty interesting show for you. Going to talk about Micah Parsons being pissed. Well, guess what, Micah? I'm pissed too, with you. And we'll get to that right after this. But if you haven't already and you're here on YouTube, please go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, and that notification bell. Make sure you're alerted every time we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, click the search bar, type in the Format Podcast, and we should come right up. You can subscribe right there. And if you enjoy the content, please make sure you give us that 5-star review, that like on YouTube, and leave a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. Now let's get right to it. Micah Parsons. So a few days ago, I think last week, Monday, you were on your podcast, and it's cool that you have a podcast. We all love podcasting, right? We love reaching out, talking to the masses, talking to the people about different things, right? And that's awesome. I respect the fact that you're doing that, and that's cool. Now, you're on your podcast, and you had the nerve to talk about being pissed off. You had the nerve to talk about, you like the fact, right, that the sports media, and I guess the fans and the sports world in general, aren't keeping it. What's the word I'm looking for? They're not playing you being yourself and Dak Prescott, your quarterback, and the Dallas Cowboys on the whole. They are not looking at them the same way they look at a bunch of other teams, right? And well, as I've talked about, remember I did a show, if you saw it last week on the channel, about Micah Parsons and how he gets extra credit for being the Dallas Cowboy. I did a show a few weeks back about Dak Prescott, or maybe when the season started, about Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins and how they are almost identical as players in terms of production and numbers. But Dak getting, extra credit. Why? Because he's a Dallas Cowboy. He's got the star on his helmet. But we'll get back to that stuff in a minute. Let's hear what Micah Parsons had to say, and then we'll talk about the rest of it. Check it out.
Don't condone the bashing of Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys and have the same energy for the Eagles. I see my quarterback, maybe not have the red zone success, but move the ball way better than the Eagles did Sunday night. So we want the same energy for everybody, because there's a whole bunch of bashing when it's Dak Prescott, but not the same when it's the Eagles. Why is it that we are just scrubs and we're nobodies that don't deserve to be on the field and we're just all talk, but there's 100 excuses for these other teams? Like, if y'all just want to hate Cowboys Nation, just say y'all hate Cowboys Nation. But don't sit here and throw shade on us. Keep the same energy for everybody. I just want the same energy for everybody, because people, I feel like those analysts are failing you. Okay,
Micah, you had some stuff to say there, so let's unpack it. First of all, so I referenced the show that I did last week about Micah Parsons and the fact that people are comparing him to Lawrence Taylor. Yeah, Micah Parsons, you're an incredible player. Get that. You're an outstanding pass rusher, great defender. Get that. But you haven't been defensive player of the year yet, have you? No. Have you led the league in sacks yet? No. Again, you've been phenomenal since you came into the league, but are we even sure that you're the best defender in the league? And I'm not going to go back into that. You can check the previous show if you want to hear my thoughts on that. But the fact is, you have Myles Garrett, you have TJ Watt, you have Nick Bosa, right? All these guys are elite defenders, elite pass rushers, all three arguably better than you. But the question is this: how many national ad campaigns do you see Myles Garrett on? How many commercials do you see TJ Watt on? How many commercials do you see Nick Bosa on, right? We know TJ Watt had one. He had the Subway commercial, and that was because of JJ Watt. So that was JJ's commercial. He brought his brother in. Cool, nothing wrong with that. Gotta love family, gotta do for them. That's awesome. I'm trying to think if Myles Garrett has any national ad campaigns. I should have looked this up before I started the pod, but for the most part, you don't see Myles Garrett on these things. You don't see Nick Bosa on these things. Why do we see Myles Garrett on these things? Why? Because he's a Dallas Cowboy. He has the star on his helmet. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Take advantage of it. I got you. You're an outstanding player in today's league. You're a Dallas Cowboy. You're taking advantage of the trappings that come with being a Cowboy. Nothing wrong with that. Cool. Dak Prescott. Go back and check the show if you haven't already. But number for number, Dak Prescott is almost the identical player in the National Football League throughout his career as who? Kirk Cousins, the guy who's perennially on the trade block, right? Thank goodness he was smart enough to get a no trade clause in his contract, but he's always in the discussion for what are they going to do about Kirk Cousins? What are they going to do about Kirk Cousins? Why? Because Kirk Cousins is a very, very good NFL quarterback, but not a guy that can get you over the hump. Correct? Correct. He's not a guy that can get you over the hump. So Kirk Cousins. So my question here is, how many national ad campaigns do you see Kirk Cousins in? How many? I'll wait. He may have one or two. But I know as in 2021, Dak Prescott had 12 or 13, and he still has a ton. You see Dak everywhere. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. But Dak doesn't get you over the hump. He's not that guy, right? He's not, just like Kirk Cousins. But what? We always find a way to give Dak the kudos when he plays above average. We always find a way to overrate Dak Prescott in the quarterback rankings. We always find a way. Why? Because he's got the star on his helmet. He's got the star on his helmet. So here's the thing, Micah Parsons, you're upset with the things that people in the sports media have said about you. You're upset with the fact that you think that the Cowboys get dealt with more harshly when they lose than other teams. Why are you not upset with all the extra credit that the Cowboys get just for having a star in their helmet? We get it. Jerry Jones is a marketing master. Again, nothing wrong with that. Incredible, incredible businessman. That's why the franchise you play for is valued by Forbes as the most valuable sports franchise on the planet. Over $9 billion, closer to 10. Jerry Jones built that. Why? Through the marketing machine, through his business acumen. That's fantastic. And what does that help do? That helps guys who were Cowboys, guys who are Cowboys, right? It helps them get a lot more attention. It helps them get a lot more kudos when they're doing things than maybe even more so maybe even than guys who should be getting more than them, right? But they don't wear the star in their helmet, right? Okay, cool. It helps guys get paid more. It helps guys get things after they're done playing in the league, right? I mean, we give Tony Romo a whole heck of a lot of hype. Was he any better than Dak Prescott as the Cowboys quarterback? No. Did he get the Cowboys over the hump? No, right? He's charismatic, cool. But he's now one of the highest paid football analysts in terms of color analysts in terms of calling games, right? Tony Romo. What is that for? Because he was the Cowboys quarterback. All that stuff plays a role. You don't get to get upset because you think that people are harder on you than when you lose, than other teams, but you sit back and you soak up the adulation, you soak up all the love when you win. This is ridiculous, Micah Parsons. It is ridiculous. And again, you are one of the prime beneficiaries of having a star on your helmet. You just are, okay? So you can't complain. I mean, that's all there is to it. But those are my thoughts on it. This was a quick one. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Please go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you do that. I'll get back to those as soon as I can. Do you think that Micah Parsons is wrong here, or do you think he's right? Do you think that the Cowboys get treated more harshly than other teams, or do you think there's a whole ton of benefits that come with being a Dallas Cowboys quarterback? Leave your comments in the comment section. Can't wait to hear from you. I'll be back on the next episode, and I'm out. Peace.